Guys, welcome back to the channel. So, today we are finishing up the interior on the 69 Cougar. Now, as you can see, it's pretty much done. Gotta add a stereo. We gotta pull the dash cluster, add a few more gauges. I know you really can't see in here, but we're changing the color of the wood. Apparently, my wife wants to go with a lighter color as opposed to the darker color, so we're gonna go that route. And, got to do the rear package tray. This is just kind of falling apart back here. And we're going to be putting new speakers in it. And then in the trunk, we got to swap out that fuel cell for a gas tank, because that's only like a 2-gallon fuel cell. So I think we're going to get started by pulling this dash and bring that in the house, because it is cold here on the Jersey Shore. No, I still have not seen any drones yet, but hey, who knows, maybe tonight. Let me get this out of here. We'll go inside and figure out how to mount the stereo in here. So the easiest thing in the world just gave us a half an hour worth of problems. If you saw in the last video, I did an overlay on this, and the little edges on the overlay were keeping this from popping up. It was basically just getting stuck. And I had to go through, I had to use every sort of pick I had, including a dental pick, just to kind of get under and pull it up, and yeah, it sucked. So now my issue is the Cougar emblem. Now, I'm overlaying this wood, but the Cougar emblem, it is riveted on there. I don't know if I should drill out these rivets, or if I should just go over and cut this out. I think I'm going to go over and cut it out, because I do have plenty of the overlay, so let me see how that works out for me. Alright, obviously this is not going to work, so let me grind these rivets off. Get rid of this badge. It's even pulling the paint off. So yeah, let's start this over. That was pretty easy. Turns out these are plastic, so they ground right off. So here's a little before, which me personally, I like the before, but wife wanted lighter, so let's get this laid on. So here we are, all finished up, and it came out pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't a fan of the lighter wood, but now that I see it on here and knowing how dark it is inside the car because everything is black, I think this will look good. I think it's gonna pop. So let's move on to the stereo, see how we're going to fabricate that in. Alright, so as you can see on a 69 Cougar, a stock one, this second hole right here is reserved for the vents. So we got the dummy lights, and then we got the vents, and then we got the stereo itself down here. Well, we don't really have that option, because here where the vents would go, it's the only spot left. So for me to secure a stereo into here, I'm going to build a plate and probably just tack it a couple times. I don't know, I might be able to run a little screw down here to hold it in place. So this is what I'm dealing with. I'm going to cut out the center hole first, get that all set, cut out the rest, and we're going to see where we end up. So here's what I ended up doing. As you can see, I just made a plate for the back. Drilled myself a bunch of holes everywhere I mounted it, just in case I had to move it, because I did have to move it a couple times, so I'm very glad that I didn't just spot weld it. And I'll show you how the front came out. I am not really thrilled with this. I did cover the metal with the same wood grain, but you can barely see it. And if you look, I got this black border going all the way around it. Let me pull these off so you can see it better. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make another plate to cover this up, and we'll see if that looks better. Give me a second. 5 minutes later, and yeah, we are much happier with that. So, got above the dash done, got the stereo done. Let's go work on the actual instrument cluster. Moving on to the instrument cluster, there are a few gauges that we are going to need, such as a little volt gauge. So I just went out, found this in my garage, just testing it. Obviously, works fine. So, next up, we're going to look at the GPS speedometer, make sure that works, and then we're going to move on to the sending unit. Speedometer, real easy to check. Alright, think we're good. Now, sending unit. Alright, as you can see, I hooked up the fuel gauge. It's very simple, just power, ground, key switch, and then you run one wire to the sending unit. Also very important, you have to ground the sending unit in order for it to work. I did not know that the first time, and that's probably why I thought my fuel gauge was broken. So we got the float all the way down. We're going to pop her all the way up. We're going to go like halfway or wherever, 2/3. All right. Drop her all the way down. And it better go.
What the shit?
Okay. I'm happy with that. Let's get this mounted into the tank. All right, something a little unique about my fuel sender. I am only using this for the fuel gauge, and there will be no gas going through it. If you look here, I actually threaded a bolt into there, and I RTV'd it. On this side, I JB welded it, and I am going to be capping that once my cap kit gets here from Amazon, but this is only for this gauge. And when we get to the gas tank, I will show you how I'm going to get fuel out of it. So let's jump on that. All right, next morning here, and just got back from inside the car pulling the cluster out. Now we have to figure out what we are going to do with this. So we got to add the speedometer. That's 3-inch, about the same size as the tack. Well, same size hole, I should say. Here's where our water temp is. Here's our oil pressure. But we want to add fuel gauge, and I'd like to have a volt gauge. So I think we're going to start. I think we're going to put the speedometer over here. So I am going to enlarge this hole to a 3-inch. And then I'm going to figure out what to do over here to get all 3 gauges in. Probably Christmas tree. Which, that is probably not lined up in a good spot. I'll probably have to weld that in, move it down. I don't know. Let's get this done first. Alright, I think I'm going to go for it. I don't think you guys want to watch me with my jigsaw, so I'll be right back. We're pretty happy over here, but I still need 4 gauges. So I think we have to close that hole down. I don't know. I'm going to think about this. I could throw one over here, but I don't know. Let me contemplate.
I'll be back.
10 minutes later, and we are all filled in. Is it ugly? Yes. But do we care? Not at this point. So I'm going to throw some tape down, and we're going to map out where we're going to put these gauges. All right, I think that's going to work. Worst case scenario, I just weld metal back in, but let me go cut this out. Here we are with the new and improved instrument cluster. Water's going to go there, fuel, voltage, and oil pressure. So let me break this down, throw a little Bondo in here, get some paint on her, then we're going to wrap her. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm going to put a switch over here for lights and stuff. I don't know. I can do that anytime. Meantime, let's get this set. I may have got ahead of myself a little bit, but I'm pretty sure you guys didn't want to see me doing body work and paint and putting the adhesive sticker on, but here's how we ended up. Let's line this up with the dash and see how this whole unit looks together. Alright, so here's the basic cockpit of the car. Besides some simple wiring, I think we're done, so let's go slap this in. Yeah, I'm liking it. Alright, so before we slam the gauge cluster back in, we're going to switch that to keyed power. So here I have my original key switch that came in the car. Now, there was no wiring or nothing that hooked up to the back of this. And what I didn't know is this key is the wrong key. It doesn't turn it. So for the most part, this is useless. However, what you did not know is I happen to own a 68 Mustang. And I have the complete wiring harness for it with the ignition. So we're going to go figure out exactly how to get the keyed ignition to work as far as giving me power. So I don't need any of this for my purposes with the Mustang, which we will be getting to very shortly. So let me go inside and start playing around. So I know it's a little hard to see, but this is what we learned on at least a 68 Mustang ignition switch. Yellow is your power going in. Ironically, black, which you would think is negative, is your power going out in the keyed position. Now I just have this, thrown up to a 9-volt right now with a little light on it, just for testing purposes. And obviously you have to ground out the switch or none of this is going to work. So when we turn the key, now we have light. Key on, key off. On, off. Let's go throw this in the car. Alright, I would be lying if I said I didn't test this already, but let's just pretend like I didn't test it. So most of these gauges are mechanical. Obviously, oil, water, and fuel pressure. They're all mechanical. So we should get, I don't know about the fuel gauge, but we should get voltmeter and the GPS when we turn this switch. So, we turn you guys a little bit. We'll turn the switch. Alright. Now, there is no way to actually set these lights up with the switch. They're either on or they're off. But we do have volts. We do have the speedometer. And I think we're ready to go. So now we're going to stab all this back in the car. Quick little side note with the junk harness. I was just getting ready to go throw this thing downstairs. And I realized this has the plug I need for turn signals. So yeah, this was a race car. All the electronics were stripped out of it, but I am going to need this, and I just went and checked, and it plugs right in. So, looks like I'm going to be unwrapping some electrical tape. Alright guys, so here we are. I know it's a little dark. I'm going to grab a little flashlight. Show you what we got going on. So yeah, overall I'm very happy with it. You can see down here where our key is. That's just a toggle switch now. That's going to give me power to everything that I don't need much, including the stereo. And you can see with the lights, all the gauges are hooked up. All the lights are hooked up. Oops. And we should be good to go. So yeah, pretty happy with it overall. So obviously I still have some wires and stuff to run under the carpet. You guys don't want to see any of that. That's boring. Pulling the door cards off and changing the wood color from the darker to the light. You don't want to see that either. So that's going to do it for this video. I'm pretty much done with the interior and the front of the car. Well, actually the whole car, pretty much. I think I have some wiring I have to do for some lights that are back there and whatnot, but that's all boring stuff. So that's going to do it. Don't forget to share and like and subscribe and all that stuff that the successful YouTubers tell you. And in the case of this video and this video only, get out of the garage and get on the couch, because I was able to do most of this inside. Catch you on the next one.
Hate this hacking crap.